Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. So my name is Rob West. I work for TD Bank, and I'll tell you what I do during the day. So I am a community development manager. What I do is I make sure the bank is helping all communities, especially low to moderate income communities. So when it comes to small business banking, small business credit cards, mortgages, home equities, make sure that we're helping everyone find access to capital and to banking. So I'll tell you a little bit more, but some things that I want to talk about. I don't know if we'll get to them all because I'm sure you're going to ask a lot of questions. I believe I have, about an hour and a half? So I really want to talk about you. I want to talk about credit, doing a market analysis, checking out the competition, a business plan, and access to capital. It may not be in that order, but those are things that I want to talk about. So I'll let Fawn say who she is and what she does.
Hi, my name is Fawn, and I'm a store manager at the Wesley Chapel TD Bank. Like Rob, we like to get out and just educate the community on things that we offer. I'm in charge of business banking and personal banking, so I kind of just do a little bit of both. But we really want to obviously focus on the business aspect today and really take you all the way from where a startup process is going to be to maybe either like expansion at some point, touch base on the products and services that we have, any questions that you guys have. I think most importantly is if you have any questions today, this is going to be the best time to answer them. We'll answer them as honestly as possible. There are some things we might not know 100%, but we will try our best to answer them. And there's always going to be points where if you want more of a specialized answer, we do have specialists as well too that can kind of hone in a little bit more. Everyone has different situations, so we will just try to help you guys as best as we can here.
All right, thank you, Fawn. Hey, Fawn, you gotta grab a seat. Okay. So usually I don't sit down. Usually I like walking around, but they said I'm on camera, and they said don't move from this spot. So I might sit down for a little bit. I might get up, but who knows? So how many people in here have a business? A legit business, not just a hobby. Something that's earning income. Okay. Who in here doesn't want to be in business? And that's okay. I don't want to be in business. I love business, but I don't want to be a business owner. So that's okay. And I think we find that a lot in our roles. A lot of times customers come up to us with an idea, a concept, they want to run a business, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And I'll tell you this great example. My mother, she makes some awesome pound cake. So she makes pound cake, she takes it to church. Church says, oh, Betty, you need to sell this. So my mom goes down to the flea market and she sells it on whatever day, Saturdays. So everyone loves it, the church loves it, she loves it. So then she went to register her business. Then all of a sudden they said, if you're a baker, we need to come inspect your kitchen. You have to have a certain type. And I'm like, she's like, oh, no, I don't want to do all that. I just want to make cakes. So think about that in your business. So, Fawn, what happens when someone comes into your office and says, I want to start a business. What should I do?
So I think a lot of times when people say that they want to start a business and they come to me for my advice, obviously my first question is going to be like, what is your business? Do you actually have a business plan set out? There's a lot of things that are very important before you can even open an account. You obviously need to register your business. A lot of people will come into the bank and have no idea that they need to be registered on Florida SunBiz, which is just a business website where pretty much every business has to be registered on. You definitely want to go to the IRS and get an EIN TIN number for your business. So you obviously can keep your business personal from separate. Some people will want to come in and just use their individual social security number for businesses, which is totally fine to do. There's a lot of reasons why people shouldn't be doing that though. So when somebody first comes in, we don't really honestly dive into products or services or anything like that. We take the time to figure out what their business is, kind of what their plan's going to be, where they want to see themselves in 6 months, where they want to see themselves in 12 months. Kind of like, what kind of employees do you have right now? What kind are you trying to onboard? So our job is not just to help financially with the business, but really kind of to figure out the path that they're going on, and then just be able to give them advice on what's really going to help them with the startup process of their business.
So all those who have a business have done that. So you go to irs.gov. Go to irs.gov. Register your business, get an EIN number. Actually, before that, I always suggest Google the name of your business that you want to create. Make sure someone else doesn't have it, because I have seen where someone in Florida has a business name, someone in Texas has a business name. All of a sudden, the business in Texas blows up, gets worldwide recognition, and all of a sudden, they're like, hey, I was here first. You gotta change your name. And what does that do to your clients, your clientele, and your base? So make sure it hasn't been used. Okay, so now that you have a business, who has a website for their business? Okay, so who updates their website weekly or branding weekly? Okay, and you do the same thing for yourself. You're branded. Okay. So I bring that up because you are your business. A lot of times clients feel that, I'm here and this is my business. So when a client comes in and asks they want to apply for a business loan, I want to find out everything I can about that business. So I'll go to Sunbiz, I'll pull up their records, I'll Google their name, I'll Google the business, and see what websites come up. If a website does come up, that's great. They'll tell me more information about their business. But also, if there's any negativity. I had a business client, he applied for a business loan, I Googled his name, and he was suing the Hillsborough School Board. So we decided not to do business with him. Well, not give him a loan, because that creates a branding issue for the bank. So we'll Google your name too. So if you went to a party last week, it's okay that you went to a party. You may not want to put it on your website, on LinkedIn or Facebook, because that could be tied back to your business, which may have a negative impact. So think about that. And that's why I have this presentation on credit, because you are your business. Okay, I've had clients who come in making $1 million saying, Rob, I want a business loan. I pulled their credit, and their credit was a 600. So do you think I was able to do a loan for that person? No. I've also had a client who had $1 million. He had a credit score of $800. He had a credit score of 800. Was he able to get a loan? No. No. And we'll talk about that too, because credit has many factors. So this client has a 800 credit score, but he has a mortgage on his house, a home equity on his house, a car for him, a car for his wife, a car for his daughter. So the bank says, even though you have a nice credit score, what should happen if sales don't come in? Who are you going to pay first? The mortgage, the bank, your small business loan, or who are you going to pay last? So the bank will look and see what is that risk, and may decline you or offer you something different. I have had a client who had a 620, and she was approved. It was because she had 3 credit cards. She had a house, a car, and a credit card. She paid them all off on time every month. So she was consistent, no lates. So I just want you to realize that you are your business. You are the credibility of your business. So I have my laptop in front of me, so I can stop and take a look. So I really want to talk about what to expect from, credit score. Set a goal. Set a goal. I would say on average, have a credit score, I don't know what you consider good, 680? I think most financial institutions say 680. I've seen some mortgages done for 650. So think of 680. Okay? You don't have to raise your hand. Anyone have over 680? You don't have to raise your hand? All right, under 680. So now we know. Okay. So how does credit influence your daily life? I just spoke of one, applying for a business credit card or a business loan. How else does credit affect your life? Yes, that's right. Insurance. What else? Okay. As in getting a mortgage and the mortgage rate? Yep. So rate is a factor. So when you look at credit, the bank says, I'm going to lend you money or I'm going to give you a credit card. What's the chances of you paying me back? And if there's no chance of getting paid back, you're not going to get that loan or credit card. But if there's a good chance, you may get it. And also determines your rate. So if I have a credit card, a small business credit card at 18%, that may not be helpful to me. But if I have a credit score and I get it for 11%, that could be a better option. So you're paying more for that risk. So your better credit score may lower the risk. And also credit cards maybe don't drop rate as quickly as like a term loan or line of credit. So think about that. So when you look at your credit report, there's three major reporting industries or companies. It's Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Some banks will use 1 or 2 or 3. Like some banks may take all 3 scores and pick the middle, okay? Because the bank doesn't know you. I look at you, you look pretty cool. I don't know if you're gonna pay me back. So the bank says, I don't know if you're gonna pay me back. Let me look at your credit score. That's kind of your character. So think about that. So going back to my client who made $1 million, he also didn't get the loan because he was late on his mortgage twice. So the bank feels if you can't pay your mortgage and you miss it twice, one time's an accident, but twice, that might be a trend. That could also impact your credit score too. So the bank will also look at your credit score, and something that makes up your credit score, the different areas are payment history. Okay, payment history, are you paying on time? That's about 35%. 30% is how much you owe. So I have a credit card. I buy everything in my life on my credit card. Okay? Is that good or bad? You think it's good? Why do you think it's good?
I like credit.
Okay. So maxing out your credit card, what do you think about that?
Maxing it out, no, but making steady payments where my debt is not as high as the maxed out, that's fine.
Okay.
But if you pay it off every month, sometimes it's like 500.
So think about using credit and a loan. It's to help you make money. So I buy everything on a credit card and I pay it off at the end of the month. Next month I buy everything and I pay it off. I get about $1,000 in rewards points. So I'm making money on using credit. So a lot of small business owners make the mistake of using credit and then owing more money and more money, and a trap you can't get out of. So make sure you're using it to help grow your business and make money for you. Also, length of credit history. So most banks want you to have at least 2 lines of credit for 2 years. That shows a trend. So usually a term note, so a house note or car note, and a credit card. And the bank will look at your usage. So how are you using it? What's the length of credit? Do you have any new applications? So every time you apply for a credit card, you might get a hit, like 2 points. And I almost freaked out. So, coming out of COVID, I really didn't buy anything. So coming out of COVID, I bought a new car. I got a credit card. My wife wanted the floors done, so I got floors on credit. And then she wanted an appliance. She wanted a stove. So I bought these 3 things on credit. My score dropped 100 points. It's because I used 3 new open lines within a short period of time. A year later, it's gone back up. I used my credit responsibly. So those are things that could impact your score. So if you're making a big purchase and then you go into a bank trying to buy something or trying to get a loan, that could be a determinant of you not getting it. So think about how you're using credit, new credit, and the types of credit. So like I said, the bank usually wants 2 lines. One's a term loan and one a line of credit or a credit card. So Fawn, since you're in the store, you see a lot of business clients. What are some of the things you see from your clients? Good or bad when it comes to credit?
I think a lot of times business owners, kind of like Rob said, don't realize that it's the importance of having good personal credit. They'll think that the business has its own entity and the business kind of credit's going to run off the business credit. The business makes $1 million a year. They're just going to be able to come in and get a loan. So we really just want people to understand what builds personal credit, what can destroy personal credit, the things that really come into play when it comes to having that actual credit score, and the reasoning why banks look at personal credit score so much. Like he said, is you're the owner of the company, you are the guarantors. I think the biggest mistake is people thinking that just because they have a really good business that makes a lot of money, it's got good annual income, that they're right away just going to be able to get approved for those business loans, when it's so much more in depth into it. Then when we really take time to sit down with them and kind of explain to them why maybe their decline is going to be a no right now, but hey, you know what, in 6 months, in a year, let's work on this path together. Let's put this plan together for you and kind of reevaluate and really make sure that they understand kind of what we're looking at. It's much more clear to the business owner.
All right, I'll pause for a second. What kind of questions are there? Let's say Dunn's number isn't important as a startup, but I think after 2 years you need to have that, because that's also another way that a bank or creditor will look at you for your character. So a lot of things too, so especially when you get into commercial lending or a loan over 100,000, you have your credit score, but also a bank will look at your Dunn's number. Some banks, we use LexisNexis. So you want to know who you are, who we're giving money to, and what's the risk, and can it be repaid? No question?
Oh, well, I have a question.
Yes.
If I get a business credit card, my expenses should only be for my business to build it, or could I spend on other stuff to build a sort of higher credit score for my business card? Or only certain things that go towards the business card? You know what I mean?
So I am not an accountant, but an accountant would say spend your business credit or your business loan on business needs,
Okay.
because that's commingling.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yep. Because also when you do apply for a loan, which we'll get to later, I think we'll get to it, but the bank will ask for financials. So ask for profit and loss statement, 2 years W-2s on your business, 2 years on you as an individual, assets and liabilities. So if things shows up, underwriter's gonna say, what's this for? So we'll look at cash flow. So cash flow is key. And another thing for an accountant to look at. Because a lot of times what happens is small business owners, they will want to show, they'll have in their financials a smaller number so they don't have to pay taxes. But then the bank says you don't have enough money to pay us back for a loan. So that's probably the first, well, I say find a banker. I'll tell you, bankers are free. We don't cost any money. Then number two, accountant, and eventually an attorney. Those are three people you need to have on your team. I mean, for me, because I know me personally, and like I said, a year later it went back up. These are things I needed. I didn't spend it throughout the year. I just spent it all at one time. But also think about that as a business owner. What are my needs? Can I buy it now, cheaper? You know, plan. You know, I was listening to NPR, and there was a lady, she said she went into different businesses, and she was like an accountant. She would look at finances for different businesses, and this one business always had a shortfall. She figured out, she said, you're not planning for the unexpected. She said, last year there was a tornado, year before there was a blizzard, year before that there was an accident in the plant. So these three things over 3 years were unexpected things. She said, budget for that and plan for that. And that happens in our personal lives, right? A tire goes out, the AC goes out. So that was pretty interesting. Plan for the unexpected, budget that. Anything you want to add, Fawn? Okay. All right, you better watch her. She's watching you. Okay, any other questions before we go on to we leave credit? We'll probably come back to it. All right. How to conduct market research. So you came up with an idea. Someone tell me what's an idea they came up with for the business.
Well, it's not really like an idea, like it's an action, but action we use for legal services, such as like help murder and civil law.
Okay. Okay.
It's like general videos, like all of the flying around, from what it really is presented to it.
Okay. So how did you come up with that concept?
I've been doing it for years. Actually, my mother, like years ago, asked me if I would help her film something, and then I kind of asked her if I could do more and more and more, and then eventually other attorneys started putting me on cases.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else come up with an idea they want to share? Yes. This is your last one.
I have an online marketplace for different types of businesses.
Okay. And how'd you come up with that idea?
I thought I had been speaking to him, I was real passionate about I've been able to see that I got to go.
Okay.
In caregiving, basically explore being caregiver with my dad and additional avenues of getting assistance with being caregivers to feel and time and again. So it was a positive that I've done my time there and it was happening time.
Okay. Good. Thanks for sharing. That's also the best part of our job. We love hearing the stories and the concepts and how they go from start to finish, beginning to end. But we also see that a lot of things aren't new. Right? Is filming somebody new? Being an investigator, is that new? So how do you know somebody wants your business? Yeah. Okay, how do you know you have clients? Where do you get the clients from? It could be anybody. So you come up with an idea. You want to do an assessment. And I think on this floor is probably the best floor in Tampa to find research. Probably what you're doing, someone else has already done, or someone similar. I work a lot with the Small Business Development Center. They have research, and they can tell you almost every industry and industry trends. So you can say, hey, I want to do this business. They'll pull out a big book. Well, I don't know if they have a book. It's probably online now. And they can say, for your industry, this is the trajectory. These are the trends. So do your market research. So colleges and universities are good places for that. Sometimes it's just good old Google. But seek experts. So who is your consumer? You want to know, who am I selling this to? Who am I selling this pound cake to? A whole bunch of church ladies or a whole bunch of college kids? So think about their age, their gender, their income level. Because I have seen a lady, she sells key lime pie, a slice for 20 bucks. I haven't tasted it, but it better be good. But you can sell a $2 piece of pie or $20 piece of pie. I mean, how do you determine the price? One could be the clientele. Maybe I'm going to uptown Tampa, or for the $2 pound cake, I'm going to church, the church ladies. So think about who your client is, how many there are of them, and why they want your business, because someone else probably makes pound cake. Are you doing business to business? So maybe this lady who's selling this $20 piece of key lime, maybe she's selling it to university presidents or bank presidents. So think about your market, the industry, company size, number of employees, person decisions. One thing I think we have seen during COVID, it has caused people to shift. Sometimes we have clients who are cash-facing industries, face front, cash handling. They were deeply impacted by COVID when it first happened. Some of them failed, but some of them switched to online. All of a sudden they have an online portal. Maybe they're selling on Amazon. Because I live in Lakeland, Polk County. I see these blue planes flying over my house every day, dropping off packages in little blue trucks going to my neighborhood. So think about distribution. I have one client, he sells plate outlets. So these little outlets right here that you plug into, he sells these, and his distributor is in China. He actually got a call 6 months before COVID happened, and his distributor said, something's going on here, you should buy a whole lot. And he did, he bought a whole lot. COVID happened, all of a sudden he couldn't get those wall plates anymore. So after he sold out his batch, he had to find another distributor, which he did in China, not China, but in Mexico. So think about that when you're in the market. Vaughn, you see anything, or how people pivoted from COVID?
I think kind of like you said, a lot of people kind of went more towards the e-commerce way, more towards the online. If they had stores, they shut the stores down, and just went more towards an online presence, which a lot of businesses actually didn't mind that. A lot of times they just closed the business and worked on online services. That way you're kind of saving money on having to pay rent. You're really not paying the employees, but then kind of in turn, what else you're going to have to pay doing the online businesses. Now you have all your shipping and handling that you're doing. So I think a lot of it went from more brick and mortars to a lot more e-commerce, people wanting to be more of their bosses at home and doing more of the things like that. So it really just depends what type of business focus you really want to have. There are businesses that are 100% can work all online sales. Just kind of really depends if you think your business needs to have an actual store, or if you want to just forego that and have 100% online sales. So that's like probably the biggest thing that we saw, where a lot of people are just kind of giving up the buildings and just kind of working honestly like out of their homes at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so think of the market, whether it's something crazy like a pandemic. We also live in Florida, so think about what happens in the summer, late summertime usually. A really bad thunderstorm, a hurricane here and there. What's your business continuity plan? Okay, or maybe you're a business downtown and all of a sudden a motorcade comes by and you can't do business for an hour or 2 or 3. How do you switch? You know, I will tell you, I don't eat out much, but something I did do during COVID was delivery. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do delivery. Now I do delivery all the time. Right? Well, I try to get those coupons. You know, see, you do it once and then you don't do it for a couple months. You get an email that says, "Hey, free delivery." So I try to jump on those. So just think about trends, thinking about people's shifts. I heard something from the Florida Chamber of Commerce that says over 1,000 people a day are moving to Florida. What kind of needs do they have? I've been in Florida for 17 years, and there's been a big shift from people moving to the city. Back in my day, everybody wanted to live in the suburbs. And everybody wants to live in a city where they're close to work, close to school, or a place they don't have to have a car. So how does that impact your business? So think about those kind of trends too. I know Fawn in the DC area, so a lot of my friends in the DC area, New York City, don't have cars, public transportation. But Florida, there's no subway. At least I don't think. I know they're working on the Sunrail, so maybe that'll come through Lakeland one day. But also, who's your competitor? Who does the same thing that you do? I would shop them. Say, hey, what are they doing good? What are they doing poorly? How could I beat them? But also as competitors, think of how you can complement them. I see a lot of lawyers hang out together. They're all lawyers, but they study different types of law and have different type of clients. So a lot of times, a client will go to a lawyer and say, hey, I need you to do this because I got hit by a car. Like, well, I don't do that, but my lawyer friend who does do that is right here. So sometimes you can use your competition to help grow your business. With major competitors, can you compete in a space? Can you take some of their market share? Check out their strengths, their weaknesses, and what makes your business unique. All right, what kind of thoughts? Anyone have any thoughts, questions? Okay. Always check out your competition. And also know what's happening in your industry. I don't know, do you have databases on industries? Like the one that banks use is called IBIS World. Okay, you've heard of IBIS World? Okay, we use that at bankers. So if you come into my shop and say, hey, I want a loan, what kind of business do you do? Well, I'm a restaurant. You serve alcohol? Okay, we'll look at IBIS and see what the trends are. So use those documents. Also look at what is the success rate in your industry. So anyone know the success rate for restaurants? What that number is? Yeah, it's about that. Yeah, most startups fail within the first 2 years. 80% fail within the first 2 years. And I don't know why. I mean, some of it's widgets, some of it's planning, some of it's personality, some of it's not cash flowing. So also know if there's any barriers. You know, we're in the banking industry, and I hear this often. Someone will come to me and say, hey, Rob, the bank needs to do this kind of product. We need this product. The streets need this. I'm like, well, what? Let me see. Let me pass it up to our product management team. And they may say, well, banks are heavily regulated by the federal government. We can't do this. So think about what you do, what you sell, what you produce, what kind of regulations may impact that. And also in the banking world and in other industries, it also depends on administration because they can make laws and legislation that may affect your business. So I think one of the best ways to do a survey is ask your clients or your client base. If you ask your clients how you're doing, they will tell you. So be ready for the bad news. Where's other places you can find information about your business? Yeah, social media. That's where the haters hang out. All right, any place else? Your customers will tell you, your friends, your family will tell you. If you have competitor friends, okay. Does anyone have a way to capture feedback? Okay. What do you use?
So, I work for a nonprofit. We help kids in hospitals that are trying to minimize that feedback. So we put our survey on the gift bag so that every patient who receives it, the parents can take the survey, fill it right out. So we're getting that direct consumer response.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, you should have some kind of survey, at least make it simple. You know, as a large corporation, we have secret shoppers, we have JD Power, and they tell us, we survey customers. Fawn will tell you, she gets a report every day. How does it look?
We're actually doing pretty good right now. The surveys can roll in daily or weekly. The secret shopper surveys are very specific, so specific. These customers are pretty much told what to ask for, word for word. They are told exactly what to say and ask for when they come in, as opposed to just like different surveys where we're just pretty much rated from like a 1 to 10. Like Rob said, the JD Power is the most important, pretty much like bank survey that there is right now. It's kind of what all the banks are feeding off of. Like you want to be like that top tier bank, and it's all, it's all customer service. It's all education to our customers. The most important piece that we really want to focus on is advice. If we have a customer come in and we talk to a customer for an hour about their products and services that we offer, if they walk out with completely nothing, but peace of mind, more knowledge than they came in with, that's honestly what makes us happy. So yeah, so every business is going to have some sort of survey. And then there's always kind of remember in the back of your mind, I think of this myself too. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, most of the time you only talk bad about them. What they do to piss you off last week, and you never talk about the good stuff. So it's kind of the same thing about businesses. A lot of times you're only going to hear something that a business did that was wrong. So you're just going to kind of hear like that negativity out there. So then what can you as business owners kind of do to kind of get ahead of that and do your own surveys? How can you kind of spread the good things out there about your business? A lot of it's like through the websites that people can put ratings on their websites, even people that have like Etsy. You can sell stuff on Etsy. You can make your own things. Everything is rated by stars now. So just always kind of keep in the back of your mind when you are a business, what are you doing? What are you putting out there for your customers to be able to rate you? Because that's kind of the number one thing that everybody looks at is what's everyone's rating before you buy a product or before you go to an establishment.
All right, does it make sense? Do a survey of your market, know what's going on, what the competition is like. Okay, any comments or questions about that? So I just jumped straight to access to capital because that's what everyone wants to hear. Like, where's the money and how do I get it? So what are your thoughts on business capital? Why would you need business capital? Why do you need money?
I mean, if you're any type of product, then you need money to fund basically all the manufacturing. There's a lot of business manufacturing. Most of the time, the selling business is all expensive. It's hard to get off the ground for sure. So, if it's service, it's a bit easier, but when it's like something that you're trying to actually sell, there's a lot of shipping involved. It's just a lot.
Okay. That's why I don't do it. But I'm here to help you do it. So this happens a lot. A client will walk into Fawn's office and say, hey, Fawn, I need $100,000. And Fawn will look at it and say, what for? You want to share a story about someone who's done that?
So I think the biggest thing is, yes, somebody will come in and say, I need $50,000 or $100,000. Okay, that's great. Like, what do you need the money for? Some people are very specific. I need $50,000 exactly for this, or I need $50,000 I want to just have here when I need it. So I think the biggest thing is to figure out, number one, what do you need it for? Is it for one big, huge purchase? Because that's going to be a different type of loan we're talking about. Or do you want to just have something for an emergency? You don't need something today or tomorrow, but kind of like he touched base on earlier, I want something for an emergency. So just trying to figure out what your actual need is, whether it's for now or later on. Collateral is the number one thing that obviously you're going to need for business. What do you have for collateral that we know that we're going to kind of have like on the back burner? The biggest difference, I don't really want to dive too much into it because then it just gets a little bit confusing, but obviously a line of credit's revolving. It's a variable rate. A term loan, you have a fixed rate. You get your lump of sum at one time. You can kind of pick your term. The biggest difference is with your line of credit, your collateral is going to be a little bit different. The biggest difference when it comes to term loans is for collateral. For term loan, whatever item that you're trying to purchase, that can be used as your collateral as well. So it's really important just to know exactly what you want the money for, whether you want the money for now, whether you want the money for six months to a year. I've had someone come in, it's like, I need to have $50,000. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a loan. Are you buying something? No, I just want to have it. Well, you probably don't need that. So let's maybe go more towards like the line of credit, like the emergency route. So it's good to do your research before you go into the bank, obviously. But if you don't, it's fine. Like, that's what we're here for. We are here to help you with what you need, but you need to know exactly what you need so we can give you the best advice and the best recommendations. Because honestly, more than half the time, what somebody comes in for and actually asks for is not really what they need for that business.
And it's you gotta have some examples. So this gentleman right here, he came in and said, I need a loan to cover my expenses. So we need to find out what his expenses are. So it turns out his monthly expense is $1,000. Okay, he made that determination. So he might come in and say, hey, I want a business loan for $1,000. Guess what? The bank doesn't do a business loan for $1,000. So what we would do, we'd say, since it's only $1,000 and you're probably going to Home Depot to buy supplies or materials, you need a small business credit card. Second example, this person says she has a quarterly expense of $10,000. She needs to buy products for her salon. So think about her industry as a salon. There might be seasonality. You know, maybe the springtime, I don't know, wedding season. So she's really big in doing a lot of hair during the springtime. Summertime, everyone's at the beach. They don't care about the hair. So all of a sudden she has no sales. So for her, a line of credit would be perfect for her. So that way, when times are good in the springtime, she has all those cash reserves. She can use it for whatever. But in the summertime, when no one's coming in because it's too hot and it's humidity, there's so much humidity, they're like, I'm just going to the beach, that's it. She has no customers. She still has to pay her rent. She still has to pay her employees. So she get a line of credit, and she uses her line of credit until maybe fall comes back. Everybody comes back from school, comes to school from home or from the beach. They get their hair did again. So all of a sudden, she's back even. So that's why you use a line of credit. And I've seen this more so because we both have lived in Virginia and DC. We see it more flat for a business, but we see it in Florida. Summertime comes, everyone's on vacation, sales dip, but they come back strong. So for those clients, we offer or we recommend a line of credit. This gentleman here, one-time expense. He needs $50,000. He needs $50,000 to buy equipment, a term loan. So for him, it might be a term loan or it might be an equipment loan. Equipment loan, you have to put 20% down as collateral, but he would get a term loan. So a term loan might be $50,000 for 5 years. He makes monthly payments. That's it. He knows what's happening. He knows what's going on. He can pay it early if he wants, but that's what best fits his need. This lady right here looks like she has a dog salon. She needs a whole bunch of things. She needs a van, probably new location. She needs a big expense, $250,000. That'd be a CREM loan, and CREM stands for Commercial Real Estate Mortgage. She's buying the building that she's in. So that's why it's good to know a banker or have a banker. And like I said, bankers are free. Attorneys cost, accountants cost. Typically, we're free. And I'll give you an example. I had a client, he came in and he said, Rob, I need $100,000. I'm like, why do you need $100,000? He said, I need $100,000 for cash flow, for a line of credit. So I said, let me see your financials. Let me see your receipts. And his receipts, $50,000 of his receipts was personal money he had put into the business. So I said, let's do $50,000 as a term to pay down that debt, because he used credit cards. So he's paying 20% on $50,000. We were able to do a small business loan for, I think, 6%. That saves him a lot of money, right? So that's more money he has to put into his business or to invest. And then the other 50 was a line of credit, because he had like a band business. He taught music, but also had summer camps. So his revenues fluctuate with the school system. So that's what we do as bankers. We find out what you need, because a lot of times someone will say, I need $10,000, and we're like, why? My uncle told me, or my friend told me. Any thoughts on this? Yes.
With a line of credit, how often do you get to access it? Like, is it one thing that you could be in there and be like, oh, on Monday you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna pull like 2,000, and all of a sudden Tuesday rolls around and you're like, actually, I need all 10,000 right now. Or is that something that's kind of like worked out?
A line of credit is like a big credit card. You just use it. Yep. But that's also another thing. How do you use your credit? So all business credit cards, business loans are reviewed once a year. So if the lender or underwriter sees that you have your line of credit maxed out for a whole year, he's going to freak out. She's going to freak out and say, you know what? This dude is using this as a term loan. He's not going to pay us back. We're going to term it out. And I've seen that happen. So I tell everyone, if you're using a line of credit, try not to use more than 60% of it. Probably keep it around 30, 50, 60%, because the reason is for cash flow, make cash flow even. If you max it out, so we want to see you use your line of credit, you buy material. Actually, I had a client, he did this. He used his line of credit to go to different shops or different conferences and buy materials in bulk at a discount. And then as he sold it, he'd use those revenues to pay down that line of credit. So he's making money. So use line of credit or credit to make money for you or your business.
So do you even have collateral for line of credit, or are you guys willing to write the top about it?
Most lines of credit are not secured. So that's why your credit is important.
So what is the term of a line of credit? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 1 year?
All depends. Typically, there's like 5, 7, 10-year terms. And each bank is different. Well, for a line of credit, you want to pay it, you want to see some kind of payment. I don't know if that makes sense. So you don't want to max out a line of credit. It'd be like maxing out your credit card. Then the bank is going to say, why are you maxing out your credit card or your line of credit? And it'll term it, because that's not the purpose. So you got to think, remember, it's all about risk. The bank is looking to get paid back. So just go a little bit about business. You have a profit margin. Everyone has a profit margin, right? Typically for banks, profit margin is only 10%. So if you have a lot of loans that don't get paid, the bank is out of business. That's why there's a lot of risk built into it with rates and term. Yes?
One thing I don't understand about refining better is like how it actually gets maxed out. Like you're talking about like a credit card, is it like a checking account, control account, basically, or
Yes.
is that
So
a card or what?
most of my clients, how they used it, they just come to the bank and say, hey, I want a line of credit. I want $10,000 off my line. transferred to my checking account, and they'll use their debit card. Have your clients used it different ways?
You mean like
Th- th-
once it's approved, not the?
You mean to access it?
You mean to access? Oh, so,
Like we talked about it like a credit card.
oh, okay. So, yeah. So there's two ways. One is like he said, is you can call your banker and they can transfer it for you. Then this age of technology, honestly, pretty much everything is online. So you, as your business owner, you would sign on to your online banking and you would just right there online transfer the money from your line of credit into whichever account you wanted to utilize that money from. You can use a line of credit for whatever you want to use the line of credit of. Just want to be mindful of what the percentage rate that you're paying for your line of credit compared to the percentage rate from what you're using to pay it. So if your interest rate's going to be higher than what you're using to pay it, it's probably not like the best idea because you're pretty much you're using one line of revolving credit to pay another line of revolving credit. So just be very mindful to if that's a good idea based on kind of what the interest rate is. But you can use a line of credit for whatever you want to use it for.
I would just be very disciplined about it and do the math. I've had clients who used their business credit card because they got points and rewards, then paid off with their line of credit, then paid off their line of credit with the revenues. But if it doesn't work out, don't do it. But yeah, if you do the math, it can work in your favor. Yes. Yep.
Obviously, only if you owe on it. You could have a line of credit and have no balance and you pay nothing. So only if you owe on it are you going to be paying your interest. So the interest is just on what you owe, not on the total line of credit. So if you have a line of credit for $10,000 and you've only borrowed $2,000, your interest is just on what you've borrowed. It's not for the entire amount. For credit cards or for lines of credit? They can honestly, I've seen some between like 7% and 18%. A lot of it goes like not just off the credit score, but like by the risk of the business as well too. But anywhere between like 7 to 18%.
So that's important to have a nice personal credit score because that might be tied to that. So you can save yourself some money on interest by having good credit. So I know we've been talking about credit from a bank or capital from a bank. Where else can you get credit from? Hey, there you go. See, that's why you're in business. Yeah, you know, a lot of times the first funds that you have as an entrepreneur aren't from a bank. A lot of times it's yourself. We've seen clients who, this is why I'm not an entrepreneur. Some have used their retirement, they've used their 401k, they've used a home equity, and they bet on themselves. And then, you know, as they grow in their business, they refi that with a business loan. But I've seen a lot of self-funding. If you have a rich uncle. I have seen, being in the bank, try not to use friends and family, because somewhere along the line, if you blow up, they're going to say, hey, I want my money back. And you know what? I want a little bit more because it helped you get to where you are. And if you do, make sure it's in writing. I don't know if you have to have an attorney, but have something in writing. So yeah, friends or family could be helpful, but it depends which ones. You've been there?
Yes, we've been there.
Okay.
We've been there. Yeah.
Let's see. Crowdfunding, I don't know about that. Anyone use crowdfunding? They have friends who use? Okay. Okay, how'd it work? Okay. All right. So they're just doing it for the good of their heart? Is there anything in it for them? Okay. All right, awesome. It's kind of like GoFundMe. And who are the funders? Are they anybody? Are they people from a certain industry? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have seen crowdsourcing, like maybe it's for women in tech. So women entrepreneurs, they crowdsource because they want to help that population. But yeah, I have seen that. See, friends and family, pros, it says it's easy. I don't know how easy it is. Investors, there's angel investors. Anybody watch Shark Tank? Anybody want to be on Shark Tank? Good. That's what I say. My wife watches it like, I would never go on Shark Tank. I'll never tell a client to go on Shark Tank. And why would I not want to be on Shark Tank? Well, for me, they want all the equity. So think of them as a lender. As a lender will give you a rate and term. They want equity on their investment. So if they do 1,000 of these and half them fail, they still made out. Because that's where they put their risk. Okay. I have seen some nonprofits like CDFIs, community development, financial institutions, do pitch sessions where they give out gifts. Anyone compete in those or seen those? Okay, those are pretty cool. And there's one in Lakeland called Catalyst. They do it, I think, once a year. They have a pitch night, and they've got $1,000. They have like a loan pool that people put into, and they give it out. So that's pretty cool. Is anyone familiar with the SBDC in Ybor City? Have you been to their 1 million cups? Okay. All right. What do you think about those?
They're nice to have that conversation with different people, get feedback, get in market research, market analysis, and what questions they have potentially for the business plan.
Yep. Have you been to 1 million cups?
I haven't done the 1 million cups anymore. We're supposed to do it at hurricane back in the fall, but I did the one in St. Pete. It was really cool to get the like-minded entrepreneurs that were just looking to grow their business locally and get involved in it. So it was cool. It sounded like
I mean, I'd recommend it just so you can go and see what the environment's like. And you're meeting entrepreneurs, you're getting that ecosystem, but also you figure out, hey, if they're doing one, I think it's got to be brave and also know your stuff, but they have to do a 10-minute pitch session in front of people like you they don't know, and you give live feedback. And that's some great feedback. So let's tell you where you suck at and what you're doing well at. That helps you as an entrepreneur because you're going to sell something that no one likes and no one's going to tell you. Then you're out of business. Okay, so you can get live market research. We talked about a conventional loan from a bank. One thing I'll talk about is people always ask me, what do I need for a loan? What is a loan package? So every bank is different, but typically a bank is going to want to pull your credit score. They'll want 2 years W-2s personal, 2 years W-2 for your business, assets, liabilities, your deposits, and all that gets put into the computer. It comes out of the score saying yay or nay or maybe. Okay, so usually what impacts that is all those factors, but also your industry. Is your industry risky? What's the trends in your industry? And sometimes it comes back maybe just below, and we'll counter those with what we call as an SBA, so a Small Business Association Loan Express, where the government will take 50% of the risk. So you probably heard SBA loans, SBA, so that's through the government, but the bank gives out the loan. But should you default, the bank doesn't take all the loss. The bank only takes 50%, the government takes the rest. So sometimes that's an option. What do you think about that?
I think the biggest difference when a bank ends up going SBA is they just take a little bit longer. And then if it ends up going SBA, they ask for a lot more documentation. So I would say the longevity of the process getting to that closing day is really honestly going to depend on how quickly you get the paperwork that is needed. And banks are very specific about what they will need. We don't want obviously to waste customers' time, so we will be very honest and open. But yep, I'd say SBA for obviously banks, it's easier for us to go that route. But you are going to need very specific paperwork. So which is obviously why you want to keep personal money separate from like business money as well. You don't really kind of want to, like he touched base on, like kind of cross mingle the two. It could get a little bit sticky when you're trying to go for either personal loans or business loans as well too.
All right, what questions? Everyone has questions about the money. What do you want to know?
Well, I have a question about the FDA because I've applied for it before. I've applied for lines of credit with my personal bank. I keep getting turned down left and right because they always say they want to see some collateral basis. I rent, I have a car payment, and I have, my 401k, but really nothing else. Credit score at 75, my debt to income ratio could be better, but I write off everything and everything in contract with the different businesses I have. And I'm just thinking, because I need the funding to finish my development build, and I have an angel investor of 200,000. But nobody wants to take
The risk.
nobody wants to take the rest unless I have a co-signer, and my angel investor has said I'll write a letter that can. But there's just differences inside co-signers, they are now asking co-signers to get 100% carte blanche to their credit history reports. So is there any other way for funding like us that are, college students or people who don't know collateral?
And what is the purpose?
Finish development, we need about another 135,000 to finish that. And then we have the market and everything, but 200,000 from the angel investor, actually from the contract, we have either another investor or a line of credit, something to finish line this month.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think any banks will do that, just for development. Yeah, R&D, that's not a thing a bank wants to risk at. Not typically. Because once again, you have to show you can pay it back. Because most people in the industry, what's that? So I'll tell you, a business plan, a business plan helps, but also depends on what the industry is. So just like you have the data, underwriters have the data. They see the trends. So they say, if this industry is going to most likely fail, we're going to stay away from that industry. So that's why it may be an angel investor at first, it may be self-investing at first, but then once you have that track record, you can refi that. I mean, that's an option that we see a lot. And I think I have a slide here on CDFIs. Anyone heard of a CDFI? A CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institution. Basically, they are chartered by the government. They're like banks. They're like banks, except they don't take deposits. And typically, you'll find them in low to moderate income areas. So it might be a certain zip code. It might be for women, for veterans, people of color. those with disabilities. That's simply who they serve everybody, but they really help those diverse populations. And they will give loans that might be risky that a bank won't do, but they'll charge a higher rate. So a lot of times, like, maybe there's an industry that you do that the bank doesn't want to do, we'll give a charitable grant to the CDFI, then they'll make that loan to you. So we kind of help the community in the back way. So it may not be direct, but it might be through. So I know a CDFI in the area is called Prospera. Fair Winds Credit Union in Orlando does it. Black Business Investment Fund. So there's a few. So if you Google CDFI, and what they'll do is they have the same underwriting standards as a bank usually, but a little bit lenient. But they'll also give you maybe a year or 2 years of training. So they might say, your credit score, you pass, you qualify for this loan, we'll give you a loan, but we want to make sure you don't fail. We want to make sure that we spend the bank's money who gave us this grant, that they're happy. You have to meet with us once a month. And we're going to train you on HR, IT, sales, to help you get, because I said, everyone's probably here good at one thing, probably selling their widget, making a widget, but not everything else. The CDFI helps you in all those different areas. Yep. Because if they fail, they're out of business too. But if they have bad loans on their balance sheet, then banks won't invest in them. Sometimes there's grants, not from the bank. But I'll tell you, during COVID, a lot of the municipalities had grants. I think Tampa had one, City of Tampa had one, Hillsborough County, and they're specific. But just like a loan, you had to show financials to be able to qualify for the grants. Because once again, nobody wants to give you money if you're gonna mess it up. So for a bank, you gotta pay us back. For grants, you gotta make some kind of community or economic impact. And also, sometimes with grants, they may ask that you have the same kind of mentors to help you along the way. So I know we talked about credit earlier. I'll just touch on it again. So an underwriter, we have what we call the 5 C's. The 5 C's of capital. And it's not cut, clarity, that's something like diamonds. But the number one is character. Remember I said at the very beginning, I talked about you and your credit, because you are your business. We have found that if our clients, if they bounce their personal check, they're gonna overdraft their business account. I don't know why that happens, but you are your business. So the bank doesn't know who you are. I think you guys are cool. Only way we can judge you by your character is by your credit score, your balance sheet, your financials, your W-2s, LexisNexis, Google. That tells us who you are. We talk about credit, capacity. This C is, do you have the capacity to do your business? Do you have the capacity to repay that note? So once again, cash flow. Cash flow is king. Capital, we also want to know, what do you have in the bank? Usually there'll be something with assets, liabilities. We want to know how much money you have on deposit, how much do you have in the bank. Because last case, if we have to get that money back, we have to go get it. And then collateral. Oh, capital is one. And then collateral. So a lot of times if you're buying property or a vehicle, the bank may say you have to put 20% down. You have to put 10% down, some kind of cash injection. That way, if you put some skin in the game, you're probably not going to leave. So that's what an underwriter looks at for the 5 C's of credit. So what do you guys think? Still want to be entrepreneurs? Right? Anybody scared? It's okay. Like I said, my mom, she said, no, I don't want to sell pancakes anymore.
I just don't have to pull out loans yet, so.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes you don't need that capital, but at some point you do. But also think of it as a tool.
Yeah.
Like I said, use capital to make you money. That's why I use my credit card every month, but pay it off because I get $1,000 in points. Use credit to make capital for you. We have a lot of resources. I mean, not just us, but if you Google, there's all kinds of reports you can pull. I also tell everyone for your credit, go to the credit bureaus at least once a quarter. So you can get your credit report free from the three bureaus. So go to Experian this month. 3 months later, go to Equifax. 3 months later, go to TransUnion. Get your credit score. You get it free. That way you know what trends you have when it comes to credit, but also you can see if there's any fraud. We see that too. We have seen through COVID that the bank robbers now work from home. They work remotely. So they're trying to get into people's accounts and steal their identity. So you can see trends on your credit to make sure you're trending right. And a lot of times it'll say, if you pay this down, your credit will go up this much. If you do this, it'll go down. So we want to make sure that you're on top of that. Because the worst thing could happen, you come to the bank, you apply for a loan, and Fawn goes, you haven't paid this in like 2 years. I'm like, what? That's not me. We've seen that happen, where it might be their roommate. The roommate did something. So make sure you're on top of your credit. So there's a lot of resources. There's also balance sheets. There's templates. And you can do the math. Like I said, do the math and make sure that a loan could help earn you money. So what comments, questions, concerns? Are you ready? You ready? Yes.
One of the questions, maybe this will be for the next question you guys do, is what the costs are to actually have a commercial banking account. That was one of the things that when I started to investigate, I kind of blown out of the water, not understanding how personal banking is completely different than commercial.
Okay. So we don't do that when we do presentations. We just want to drop some knowledge. But that's why Fawn's here, and she has some brochures. She can tell you exactly what you need, how we can assist you, what products and services we have. So we'll be glad to chat with that.
I can just say really quickly, just to touch base on that. I'm not going to go into anything specific. Personal, commercial, there's all different types of accounts. Most of the accounts, honestly, 100% you can get for free. Honestly, depending what type of business you have would be the type of account that we would recommend for you as far as the type of balance that you can consistently maintain in that account, what you're going to be using the account for. So there's a wide variety of accounts that we have. It would just kind of depend how you want to really use the account for your business to suit you best.
Yeah, Josh, how are we on time?
We just about 15 minutes before, so we can wrap up anytime you guys are done.
Okay. I mean, we can talk forever, but we don't want to kill anybody with the PowerPoint. So what'd you guys think? You learn anything? Okay, at the top, what'd you learn? Okay. All right. Another person, what'd you learn?
I guess I didn't know how much actually I remember in the credit that how easy it is to be denied by banks and stuff for a loan. I mean, I knew it was hard, but I didn't know there was so many different things they looked at, such as all the different bureaus and everything. And you'll learn.
Okay. So you're telling me this now, so in 5 years you don't figure it out. You're like, oh crap, I'm behind.
Yeah.
All right, you had your hand up?
Yes, you or your business. I like that a lot. Have self-esteem. And just I have a lot of work.
Okay. Something we're gonna do different. Someone tell me we're gonna do different. With what you learned, we're gonna do different today, tomorrow.
More informed choices about what you're doing.
Okay. So yeah, so think of a strategy. I've heard some people say pay down your biggest amount first, and I've heard some people say pay off the smallest one first. You just have to figure it out. I did a little bit of both. I'd pay off one, then pay off the big one, pay off the little one. But as you do it and as you check your credit score, you should see a difference. Okay, and lastly, who are you going to tell? You got some new knowledge, who are you going to tell? Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
I just like to have the CDFI, how competitive is the CDFI application process?
So they're a little bit more lenient, and I happen to be, I'm on a loan committee for CDFI. So it's kind of interesting. You have bankers who volunteer to approve or deny loans for the CDFI. Then you have CDFIs who are trying to close loans. So a lot of times we have great discussions about risk and helping community. But usually we have some kind of median. So we'll say, hey, what is our risk? Maybe we'll take a chance. So a lot of times we'll take a chance, and we'll take a chance because, like I said, there's usually 12 months of incubating. So once they get a loan, they have to go to the classes that show financials, IT, HR, etc. So they usually come out better. And we're seeing a lot, as on a CDFI loan committee, I see a lot of refis. There's a lot of people who had loans. Believe it or not, I mean, rates are still low. I mean, you talk about rate environment, rates are going up. They're still relatively low.
This is the first time in probably 6 years that I've heard about CDFI. I've never heard about CDFI.
Okay.
So it's definitely something that's intriguing to you guys to focus on. Does anybody else have that? That was a huge aha.
Okay, well, good. So if you need other research, like I said, the Small Business Development Center, they have a lot of consultants. You can sit with them, chat with them. They have market research, as well as other resources. All right, I think that's all we have.
Did you have a question?
I have a quick question. So you were talking about loan application and things like that. Is there any emotion involved in that, or it's just a piece of paper with numbers and place?
Emotion for who? Emotion for the underwriter? Underwriters don't have any emotion.
Emotion for the people who are applying for the loan.
So I'll tell you, underwriters do not have any emotion. They see black and white. So I will tell you, I mean, really didn't talk about the business plan, but I've seen some great business plans. The business plans usually have an executive summary. Executive summary is 10% of your plan, so it's like a one-sheeter. Having a principal bio, so all those who are the principals, the CEO, CFO, CIO, have their bios, their background, their story about the business, and then showing your projections, like 5-year projections, whether it's market research, sales. All those numbers are great, and they need to be hard and right because underwriter will see through it. But by having that bio and knowing your banker, there's times where an underwriter's called me and said, I don't know about this business. And I say, well, I know Josh. Josh is pretty cool. Josh is a veteran. He's done this for 20 years. Even though he's a startup, he has 20 years of experience. His CFO has 20 years experience. The baker has experience. And they'll say, okay, so we can add the color. I wouldn't say emotion, but we can add to the story. That's why I say, know your banker and a good CPA. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, cool. If you need us, give us a holler.